Okay, gonna make a little video here on my AR. Saw Pete's video and decided to show what I've done with mine. Pete and I think quite a bit alike. He has a little better budget maybe, or he definitely has more people that send him free stuff. So that I'm a little bit behind him as far as getting mine done. I bought this gun and right before the big problem started with Obama in 2012, late 2012, around January, it really kicked in. I bought this around October 2012. I got it on sale. It was marked 725, I think, and they had an internet special going on. The dude hooked me up with, and I got it for $650. This is the stock gun is a DPMS Oracle. You know, a lot of people badmouth them because they're inexpensive, because they buy their stuff and they ship the stuff in bulk. They save money that way, and they don't do the metallurgical testing on. But you know, the metallurgical testing is expensive, and probably less than 1% of parts end up failing the test, so it's probably not necessary unless you're going to battle. You know, if I was actually in Iraq or Afghanistan and I didn't have time to test the weapon thoroughly before I went, I might be doing that. But anyway, it's pretty similar to what Pete showed you in his, but we've chosen a lot of the same components. I have the Midwest Industries Battle Rail. It's a two-piece rail that goes on there. Have the Aimpoint Pro. I also bought that right when it came out. I think I paid $402 for that. And this has a thin profile barrel, which I prefer because it's not full auto. This gun's not full auto, and frankly, it's already heavier than I'd like it to be. So this is the standard Panther flash hider, the A2 flash hider that comes on the DPMS Oracle. I'm thinking about a Precision Armaments compensator. I may go with another. I may just go with a Miculek compensator. That Precision Armaments comp is about 180 bucks. I don't know if I'm going to put out that kind of money or not. I doubt it. But I really don't know that I need a compensator. This thing doesn't have that much recoil to begin with. That's one thing with the gas impingement. It bleeds a lot of the gas off operating the device, and 22 rounds don't have that much kick anyway. So, whatever. I'm not sure I need a compensator, but I don't know. You know how it is. We got to keep improving everything. We got to keep spending money. Chosen to go with the Olight M22 Warrior. This is a 900 lumen when the battery's fully charged. Pretty quickly, on 900 lumens, you're only going to get about an hour of operation, and after about 15 minutes, the lumens will drop down, and within 15 to 20 minutes, you'll be down around 650 lumens, and it'll remain at about 600 until the battery runs down. It also has a 250 lumen setting. It has a strobe, momentary switch, or it's constant on. Pretty standard, nothing real fancy with that, if you'll excuse the expression. But you can see here it has strobe mode. But the way I hold my gun, this thing is, I hold my gun just like this. So, well, let's see if I can get, this is really backwards here, sorry guys. I hold my gun like this, I can very easily, when I hold my gun up to my eye, the switch is right where I need it. So I noticed on Pete's, he's got his on the other side of the weapon. He seems to be right-handed, so I don't really know how he does that, if he has a pressure switch or what. I don't know how he turns his light on, and how he operates his light from where it's at. But I put a comment on his site, and maybe he'll respond on that. But there's the Aimpoint. This is a good little sight for the money. You can't beat it. One thing he does not have that I do is these K&S trigger pins, a hammer pin set. They're machined steel. That's the only problem I've ever had with this DPMS Oracle, is I did have the hammer pin did walk out on me at around 400 rounds. It walked out and snapped in two because I didn't notice it had come out. I was firing the gun and even when it snapped in two, the gun was still operational, which is really crazy. But yeah, it still worked. But yeah, the hammer pin snapped in two at where that little line is in the center. So I highly recommend I talk to one of my, my armorer that takes care of my guns, and he said that that's pretty common these days. They make a lot of these parts out of cast metal now, and they're not machined. So, and they have a certain percentage of failure. So I just got unlucky, but it wasn't really the part failed. I mean, the problem is that the pin walked out, and that's a problem with the design of the AR-15, if you ask me. And you'll notice all brands of ARs, there's a lot of people that know a lot about guns that have this on here. This is a capture thing. It keeps it captured, and the pins cannot walk out. It also keeps the pins from rotating, which wears out your lower. So I highly recommend this K&S pin set, because I'd hate for you to really need your gun and be using it to defend your life and have one of these pins come out on you. It's a bad scene, if you know what I mean. Real bad scene. So this thing's heavier than I want to hold. So CTR, Magpul CTR stock. I think that's the same thing Pete has. It has quick disconnects. That's one thing I did a little bit different than he did. My rail's a little more up to date than his, the Midwest Industries. It has quick disconnect built in on the rail at 2 locations on both sides. And then my stock has a quick disconnect. And I'm using this is the Magpul. Let me see here if I can get this. This is a Magpul. This is set up in the 2-point configuration. This is the Magpul MS4 sling, which is a newer sling they just came out with. The difference in it is it has a quick disconnect. It has a quick disconnect. This thing up here, where the other one has a clip that hooks on. You can unclip it and make it into a single point. This one has a quick disconnect. So I can basically take this out and clip it right in here. And it clips in with a quick disconnect instead of with, the metal clamp that's on the other one. Now, if I go this route, stick that in there, and then this clips on here like this. This is a Noveski quick disconnect end plate on here, and that's also highly recommended if you can find them. Mr. Noveski's no longer with us, and these end plates are getting very hard to come by. I think there's some other brands out there if you're interested. Have not picked up iron sights yet. That's one reason I went with the aim point. I will put sights on here eventually, but honestly, I would not be afraid to go into battle with this rifle if I had to. If that goes out, I do have a spare red dot. I have a Vortex Strike Fire or something like that, but it's a good little red dot. It's a lot less expensive, but I have that as a backup if I would have to have it, but do not have sights. This flashlight mount, got that on eBay from a vendor, $10 included shipping. Nothing fancy on that. It's just the regular Magpul magazine stock hand grip. I do kind of like having the compartment in here the Miad's got, but you know what, I'm going to be honest with you dudes, I'm not like, if you haven't noticed, I don't change a bunch of stuff out if I don't have to. I just now put the CTR stock. The only reason I did that, I would have used the stock, the stock, even though a lot of people don't like it. It was functional. I had no reason to change it, except I wanted the quick disconnect. And that's why I went to this Magpul stock. Mine does, even when it's locked down, still have a little bit of wiggle in it. You know, some people are lucky enough it totally locks down. This one continues to wiggle even with the lock, so that isn't, you know, but I've heard other people having that issue too. So these rails, you know, if you don't go with the free float, these have a little teeny bit of wiggle, just like the Glacier plates do. And so anyway, that's pretty much what I've got. The stock handle works fine for me. Stock charging plate. And I'm going to tell you something. I only got about 600 rounds through here because the availability of ammunition, but mine also works very smooth, as you can see here. Very smooth, no hang up at all. I've got about 600 rounds through this thing now. Green tips and 223s, 5.56. But my bolt's very smooth, like Pete's is. What I've done, I don't have the boron, nickel boron and all that, which I'd like to have, kind of, but this works so well, I don't see any reason to change it, so, for me. But let me tell you the secret to how I got that. The way I've kept my bolts and got my bolt smooth like that, and I shoot 300-400 rounds and the carbon wipes right off. I've never had to scrape any carbon off my bolt, and the reason why is this right here. This is Militech 1 synthetic metal conditioner. When the gun was brand new, I heated it up, treated it with this stuff, and I still continue to use it, and along with, I think it's G96 it's called. I've been using that for 30 years, so. But this, treating your guns with this keeps the carbon from building up and makes the operation really smooth. Highly recommend that. Our military uses this, or did use it in Afghanistan. This company was giving it free to them while they were in service over there. So that's one reason. But I really love that stuff too. And that's pretty much how I've gone. Like I say, the main differences between mine and what he has is this K&S pin set. I don't think he has this on his. And he's got some other gear that I don't have. I also, it doesn't bother me not having handles. You know, everybody complains about, oh, that hurts my hands, and it doesn't bother me. I'm sorry, guys, but it's comfortable enough. It just doesn't bother me not having those plastic hand guards on there. It would protect it if I was going to be jumping in and out of a Jeep and stuff. Probably would put the flat ones on, like Pete has on his top rail. But yeah, so that's it. MS4 sling, Noveske end plate, Midwest Olight M22, Aimpoint Pro, Magpul CTR, and this is a pretty fine little weapon. I'm going to tell you right now, it's 100% other than that pin, that hammer pin walking out. But like like my armor said, that can happen to any of these AR-15s. It's the way they're designed. So you can also, I saw DPMS used to have just a locking clip. You could buy a pin that had a clip you could clip on that was cheaper than this. This was about 40 bucks for these K&S pins. But this included steel pins, machined steel pins. So, and they do not walk, they can't come out, and they do not rotate. So I think that about covers it. I'd highly recommend these old DPMS rifles. You hear a lot of people, you know, whining about them, but I don't know, it's, you know, whatever. I suppose if you're, you know, in law enforcement and something, if somebody else is paying for it, you know, sure, I'd love to have a Noveske if somebody else was paying for it. But this thing's 100%. It's never failed to load around, fire around. Like I say, it even fired when when that hammer pin snapped in two. It still worked. So anyway, that's my little AR, the custom work I've done to it. Like I said, it's very similar to what Pete's ended up with, and it's very similar to what he started with too. I too am very happy with this gun. I never anticipate selling this weapon because it's when you get a reliable weapon, you know, you're kind of foolish to let it go because you put a lot of time and money and ammunition in testing these weapons. And so anyway, I think that'll do it. Like Pete said, I'm pretty much boring myself at this point. So hope you enjoyed the video, and that's my little custom AR. Thank you very much for watching.